I mean, studying matters, of course. It matters a lot, like, and stuff like that. There are other things that matter at a poker table also, right? There's, you know, there's a number of other things that really matter.
Good players, we know not to do this mistake or this, but if you're not disciplined, honestly, even the best players in the world make like mistakes that seem trivial sometimes. So to improve in poker, you just have to be honest with yourself, and you can't make a mistake and then if the voice in your head's like, oh no, you played that good and like, it's okay, you're playing great. It doesn't really help to lie to yourself like that. You gotta be very honest about your decision making in poker and in life, you know? Am I making good decisions? Am I disciplined enough? Am I being lazy, right? Because if you're just in autopilot mode, you get lazy, you end up making a mistake, and if you don't hold yourself accountable or don't think about how could I have done this different, you're gonna make the same mistakes year after year.
You know, ultimately when you're playing live poker, you have so many variables at your disposal. You have very strong pros, you have recreational players, you have pots going 3 ways, 5 ways, and you just end up in all these really tricky, unique situations. And one's ability to navigate through those, decide which variables are most important, and then kind of assign a relative weight to make a decision, that's really where the art, to me, of high stakes live cash comes from.
The nice thing about the top poker players is these days, they're honest and they legitimately will answer you. You know, back when I was playing, like if you ask Doyle or Chip or somebody about a poker hand, forget it, forget the answer you'll get. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be like, nothing against those guys, and rest in peace. But like, you know, the old school players are not gonna, they don't have your, it was kind of like everybody for themselves type deal when I came up, right? Like, I wanna beat you out of your money, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to beat you out of your money, and it's not gonna include me talking poker strategy with you.
Jason shared a story on Twitter once where you guys were playing on an app, I guess, several years ago, and the river card came out. He made a big bet as a bluff, and you called him and you said that you couldn't see the river or something. And he swears that you were just trying to get a tell on him.
I was trying to hear his voice.
You won? Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's accurate, that you were trying to get a verbal or some kind of tell on him?
I wanted to hear his voice, yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So for so long, I think what hurt me is that I never discussed poker strategy with anyone because at one point, I think people were so far behind in poker that it wasn't beneficial to me to discuss poker strategy with them. You know what I mean? So I just got in the habit of not really speaking with anybody, you know, and just being like separate from my peers, you know? And so I had to like recently just kind of start opening up and like making new relationships and being open to like, you know, hanging out with poker players and discussing strategy, and you know what I mean? Because I felt so separate before from everyone. Besides Daniel was always my friend, you know, but like I felt pretty separate from like the poker community for like a really long time.
I would say the advice I'd give to a kid who wants to stay sane in the game is to study consistently, but have a balanced life. I know there are some people early in their career who have this intense passion for poker and just want to study and grind and play all the time. And that's great, but it won't last forever. And you will probably find greater success and happiness in this profession if you have a more balanced life. So for me, that means exercise, socializing, taking some time off. But for other people, it can be any number of things. Just don't become too single-minded of poker, but channel that energy and that drive when you do have it, because again, it won't always feel that way. So, my process has been a consistent but not overly intense amount of study during the times that I play more, and not feeling obligated to study during the times when I'm not playing as much. But we all have our own ways of finding balance.
I'm not the guy who's putting in 60 hours a week, studying. Like, I'm okay with that, right? Like, I know my niche, I'm happy with it. But because of that, there's so many guys who are working so much harder than me that the work I do put in, which there is some, and the playing I do, which there is some, I may not be keeping up with the higher rank. So I'm better, but so is everyone else.
I mean, it's not like in-depth discussions, but, you know, like I'll ask about hands with like anybody randomly at the table. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, and they'll just answer you honestly. And it's amazing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. That was interesting. You know what I mean? Nobody asked me about hands though. So that might be a bad sign.
You're asking about hands, they probably think you're not going to tell them anything. I mean, the last thing you think if you ask Ivey about a hand, he's going to give you the in-depth strategy.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's not like none of these young guys are like, hey, how do you play this hand? Never. You know, but I asked them.
Yeah.
So
you want them, you think they should ask you?
No, I don't. I mean, because you can put the hand in the solver, right?
But yeah, the Ivey solver is a different solver though. You know, you got to have
I have different reasons for doing different things, but sometimes it's wrong. It's not like I'm always right? You know, like I can say, look, this and that, oh shit, like, yeah, I really messed up here, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's okay.
It takes heart. You know, I've played with so many centimillionaires, billionaires, and I know, like, when they put the money in, they always got it, you know? It takes a true sicko to have the heart to say, you know what? Like, I think the best move is to just ship 7 figures here or high 6 figures. Like, that's what's gonna happen.
Poker, you need to be willing to make mistakes and like to, you know, I'm the type of player that learns from making mistakes. You know, like, oh, okay, that makes sense why you shouldn't do that. But then when they explain it on a technical level, then it really makes even more sense. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, fascinating. Yeah, I mean, people always wonder, how does Ivey thinking about poker in 2024? I mean, I see this all the time on Twitter. You're really not on Twitter, huh? You don't go on social media?
I don't even have my Twitter password.
You don't even go. Okay.
So, I don't even know how to log on.
They love you're still like one of the favorite topics. People always love talking about it. They're always talking about your hands. Your hands get posted, and people are, you know, they're.